Bigfoot Collectors Club with Bryce, Michael, and Ivy. I know a story of high strangeness or two. Let's do this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness.
Bryce
I'm your host,
Johnson.
Michael McMillan. With me always in the clubhouse again is your other host and our ultra-terrestrial producer. We are back in the BCC clubhouse, and you know what? We've been having so much fun this past month that we decided, you know what? No guests this week. We just kind of wanted to keep it with the boys. And, you know, Nova is the honorary guest. And Nova and I are back to our old codependent relationship where I have to have a hand on him at all times because he will come over and headbutt me until I touch him. My little sweet boy.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
so
awesome.
happy to be around him again.
He hides in
And of course,
she's
Lucifer
awesome.
Cat
She's
is
awesome.
lurking
Right, of
about. A new
she
addition
rules.
to
She
the
hides in this
BCC
little
family.
cupboard that she opens up. It's so cool.
Yeah.
She. We are
right.
also celebrating.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
guys. The boys got me some nice little gifts, and
Bryce
much
Johnson's
appreciated.
birthday.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, Bryce.
Thanks, guys. The boys got me some much appreciated.
He'll be bringing us a little birthday high strangeness later in the program, but I thought it would be fun. Bryce, you don't know about this, but I think we should kick off this episode. Well, first, let's swing by.
This is from
and
Rhonda
nominate our 5-star Club Scout of the
BG17.
Week. This is
I
somebody
believe
who's
those
given us a
loggers.
5-star review
The
on
BCC
Apple
boys
Podcasts,
have been
helping
keeping
get the
me
show to more
company for a
people.
solid year now as I catch up on 5+ years of podcast gold. Nice. Come for the amazing guests. Stay for the BCC boys who are sure to feel like family in no time. 5 stars. Oh, that's nice.
Wow.
Oh, what a lovely review. She did. She 5-star review.
I love it.
Rhonda, appreciate that.
Yeah, that's
Help me,
nice.
Rhonda.
Man.
Give me 5 stars
Yeah.
and help me. We
Amazing.
appreciate you. If you guys want to leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app, go ahead and do it, please. But if you swing by and do it on Apple Podcasts, it does help get the show to more. I mean, we've been saying this for 7 years. Who knows?
We
if
were just
things have
told this
changed.
once 7
Yeah.
years ago. We're like, that's how
Everybody
it's
says
done.
it.
We're
Michael's
like, okay.
just going on rote.
we might read it on the air. All right. Happy birthday, Bryce.
Yeah.
Why
Thank you,
don't we
boys.
do a tarot card pull
Ooh,
for
I love
you
that.
to kick off your birthday?
Oh, that's a great idea.
So
Yeah.
we have the clubhouse deck
There it is right
right
there.
here.
Okay, wow.
Now,
Great.
have you been keeping up? Last time, about a
should
month
shuffle,
ago,
right?
Yeah,
our first
whatever.
reunion here, we pulled a card when you were talking about consciousness. Have you been having any daily tarot reads, or are you doing any
no, I
little
haven't
fun
been-
magical rituals right now?
You know, I would say it like where you're probably a tarot a day type of guy. I'm more of a tarot a month type of
Okay.
guy.
Well, this is
Or
your
like,
month.
Yeah, this is my month. So I'm shuffling the deck right now, just sort of waiting for a card
Now,
to
should
kinda,
this be
This is the one.
a thing that's like for the year?
This is it, right
For the
here.
birthday,
Oh,
Mark.
here
Oh,
we
wow, that's a
go.
lot
So
of
this
pressure.
is
Okay.
For the now.
Is this the 4 of Swords? Yes, it is. The 4 of Swords.
4 of Swords. We're going to pull up the
Cool.
4
Looks
What
like
does
a
that mean?
Knights Templar laying on his sword coffin, and there's a beautiful stained glass in the upper left hand corner. Is that the Virgin Mary or some sort of goddess image? Yeah, maybe. Beautiful.
If you pull the 4 of Swords, the meanings are rest, relaxation, meditation,
Nice.
contemplation, recuperation.
You should know what I did today
What'd you do?
in my garden. It was
you
just
sunned your perineum.
yeah.
I forgot about this.
Yeah, it was that's so funny. It was just a total day of self-care, self-love, and I
Perfect.
just hung out in my garden.
Had a 4 of Swords day.
Yeah, the 4 of Swords
there you
shows
go.
a
Amazing.
knight lying horizontally on a tomb. He remains in his full armor, and his hands are in the position of a prayer as a sign of rest.
I was laying like that today.
One sword lies beneath the knight, symbolizing a single point of focus, and the 3 swords hang above him, pointing downwards towards his head and torso. The stained glass window above him shows a woman and child together. Now, if you have, sorry, Nova's really trying to move my hand away from my computer. It's hilarious. The Four of Swords tells you, Bryce, you need a rest before you take on the next challenge.
Okay.
You have reached an important first milestone, and you must recharge your energy before the next phase begins, so you are refreshed and ready to go.
Isn't that wild?
Even if you are highly productive and driven, take time out from your busy schedule to restore your energy and heal the body and mind.
Totally did that.
Constant stress and tension will break even the hardest and most resilient of people, but brief periods of rest enable you to refresh your energy, concentration, and focus so that you are ready for the next challenge. And there's more if you want to read more about it on biddytarot.com.
And I already told you what my plans
good.
are for tomorrow. I'm going to Jim Jill Bang, a Korean spa.
There you go.
So isn't that wild? I mean, and they say tarot doesn't work. Come on.
Yeah.
That's cool. Thank you for that.
This card suggests you need to spend time alone to evaluate your life.
Done.
Solitude, although often difficult to bear, is necessary for you to recharge
Never
your batteries.
difficult to bear.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, it always bears fruits.
Whoever wrote
Ground,
that didn't have
recharge
kids.
yourself.
Yeah.
Look inward.
Well, that's
There you go.
awesome. I love that. The Four of Swords.
There
How
you go.
fantastic.
That's a
All right.
good card for your birthday. I love
think
it.
so
What a
too.
great
That's
birthday
and
party.
that's really what I'm focusing on doing. I want to I really take the time to sort of like recapitulate that energy and just, I shaved and I just, I want to feel
renew
nice.
yourself.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Fresh and ready.
Fresh and ready.
I love that.
All right. Well, Riley, get ready because I brought in some BCC news. All right, we're taking a look at
That's
some.
the most I've ever committed to
A
that.
little Winnie on the end of it, yeah.
We're taking a look at some of the stories that have popped up over the last month, beginning with this. Now, I don't know if you guys will recall this story from about 2 years ago. This was a BCC News story.
Okay.
This comes out of Ada, Oklahoma from KXII Radio. Trial begins for man accused of murdering friend he thought summoned Bigfoot to kill him.
Whoa.
Do you remember this? You guys
Kind
were like
of.
on a camping trip?
Yeah.
And he murdered his friend because he thought he was sending telepathic messages to Bigfoot.
Is this
Yeah.
the Teresa Bayer case?
No.
Something different.
Totally different.
Okay. Oh, wow.
April 16th marked the first day of trial in Ada for a man accused of murdering his friend during a fishing trip because he thought the man was summoning Bigfoot to kill him. Around a dozen of Jimmy Knighton's family members showed up at his accused murderer's trial Tuesday. Larry Sanders was accused of killing Knighton when the two went fishing in July of 2022. Sanders allegedly called the cops himself after Knighton was killed, and he allegedly confessed to strangling and hitting Knighton. Sanders reportedly told officers he killed Knighton because he had been calling Bigfoots to the area where they were noodling on the South Canadian River, and that the Bigfoots were planning to kill and eat him.
Good Lord.
Sanders had waived his right to a jury trial in March, so the judge will decide whether or not he is guilty. On Tuesday, April 16th, Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigators agent Justin Brown took the stand, and he spoke to the courtroom about his interrogations with Sanders and his investigation into the crime scene. Brown told the courtroom he wasn't sure if Sanders' Bigfoot explanation was a delusion or if it was an outright lie, but he is confident that Sanders did not see a Bigfoot, saying that that was the only thing Sanders told him that seemed off. The defense raised questions about Sanders' mental health and substance abuse history, what law enforcement used DNA evidence for, and suggested that Sanders believed that he was in a life or death struggle with Knighton. Sanders faces up to life in prison if convicted. This is wild.
This guy
It's so
definitely
sad.
believed Bigfoot was real and could kill him.
Yeah.
Right?
I
And that his
wanna
friend was
know-
psychically summoning.
I want to know the story leading up to this.
No, you don't.
You don't.
No, not the
you
moment.
don't want to know
I
that
want to
story.
know about
a
how
bad story.
Bigfoot was part of their friendship. Like, because you just don't arrive at he's summoning Bigfoot. They must have, guys.
I sort of saw it
Did
like
they
this.
listen to the
I sort of
podcast?
saw it psychically
not.
like this, that these two people, definitely believe in Bigfoot, Hundo
Yeah.
P.
Yeah.
And probably one was teasing the other, like, I'm going to bring him in. I bring him in here all the time, and he's going to eat you. I'm going to tell him he's going to eat your face.
Yeah.
And then he's like, stop that. And then, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right now. come in here. I don't know why I turned into Danny
But
McBride.
what if?
It works. I'm seeing the scene now.
But right, like that could make sense. And then he
yeah.
finally just goes, I can't be eaten by Bigfoot.
But what if his friend really was trying to summon Bigfoot to kill him?
Well, that's a whole other side of it.
I mean,
Right.
what if?
I didn't see it from that angle.
I mean,
You're right.
What if they're both freaked out? You know what I mean?
That's a whole. I didn't.
So
see
I
that.
gotta know.
I didn't see that off
more.
ramp coming. I get. Damn.
This is, you know how some people do their like true crime biopics?
Yeah.
This is my true crime biopic. I'm going to I really want to know this story here.
I mean, I feel like sadly this is a story of like meth and schizophrenia.
Of course. But
You know,
I'm
which is
saying
way less fun than
Bigfoot
your
was
version.
not
Bigfoot's
brought
like,
up
I
for
don't
the
want any
He's like,
fucking
I'm out.
anything to do with
Bigfoot was
either one of you.
not brought up for the first time the day that murder happened. That's what I'm trying
I
to say.
agree with you there for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, moving on to more entertaining and
fun
lighthearted
story.
stuff. Check this out. We had a video that dropped on social media this week. UFO or cross sign, mysterious object spotted flying over California skies. Now, I have the video for you guys. I want you to take a look at this while I read. The footage circulating on social media captures an unidentified object resembling a human figure in the air, moving slowly.
Can I play?
Yeah, take a look at this and describe what you're looking at,
All right,
Riley.
I'm gonna hit
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Hey guys, what does it look like?
I love the
Hey,
commentary.
what's that look like? They're looking
like
at
a-
like a shiny
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh,
figure
wow.
in the air.
yeah. What?
It looks
What?
like
It looks like a
Mother Mary or
hologram.
something.
It's spinning
Oh my
around, and you can
gosh.
clearly see like an arm and legs.
That is beautiful.
It is like an apparition. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, come
Yep,
on, camera.
Hey,
Stay in
focus your
focus.
camera.
Come on. Get
I know
amateur.
it's pretty
You had
hard.
one job.
God.
So, over the past few months, the USA has witnessed numerous UFO sightings, which
That's
has
pretty-
started debates about their
Wow.
origin. Recently, another intriguing video was shared online, which was reportedly filmed above Sequoia Park in California. So,
Looks
in
like
our
a
neck of the
portal
woods.
too, like a rip in the sky almost.
It's very
The footage
strange and
circulating
cool.
on social media captures
Help
an
me, Obi-Wan
unidentified
Kenobi.
object resembling a
I'm your
human
only
figure
hope.
in the air moving slowly, and the video has caught attention of viewers worldwide.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's very that.
It
Yeah.
is very
Really
strange,
Yes.
right? The person behind the camera speculates that it could be a person, while social media users believe that the object could be a hologram of Jesus. Others feel it is
Hologram
indeed a UFO, while
Jesus.
few claim that it's the controversial Project Bluebeam, which is back and making circles around the internet. Remember
What is Bluebeam again?
That we talked about this a few months ago or a few weeks back. This is the theory of like they're gonna fake a UFO
Fake an alien-
invasion
fake an
Right,
alien
right, right,
to
right.
like trick us all into.
This is the Stephen Greer thing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love this video though. It's beautiful.
Could
is
it just
cool.
be a balloon of like,
I
you
don't
know those like
think so.
large gorilla balloons that people have at like,
Oh, maybe at a car dealership.
yeah, like could that be like a Michelin man that's like flown away
I
and is
mean,
now
it's
like hovering in the air?
That would be great.
Because it is very much to me a figure. Like you can fully, it kind of looks like the
Sequoia
Saltway
Park,
Perth
California,
spaceman.
Sequoia Park.
We got to find out if anyone's missing any balloons up there.
Yeah.
What do you think, Bryce?
I'm getting very relaxed just looking at
It
it.
is, yeah,
I like
quite-
it.
yeah,
It's peaceful, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The
I like
floating
it.
man.
All right. Well, you guys, we'll include this.
UFO for sure.
We'll include a link to this in the show
Conclusive.
notes. If I can get this on our Instagram, you guys go check it out over there at Bigfoot Collectors Club and let us know what you think. Okay, one last story for BCC News this week. This one is a little, it's not that much longer, but I'm going to read the whole thing, okay?
Get in there. Yeah. We're
Guys-
Yeah, we're relaxing in the clubhouse.
So, preface.
Uh-huh.
If you'll recall, Jeremy Corbell's black and white footage about a USO emerging that was caught by the Navy in July of 2019.
Yeah.
Right.
This video came out recently. Well, somebody took a look at it in the government, in the military, and they're like, a former naval officer, I should say. And he's like, this is bad news. So...
Oh.
Former naval officer raises alarm about world-changing underwater UFO captured on video. So-called unidentified submerged objects could pose as large a threat as UFOs, the former admiral urges. This is from Noor Al-Sabai from Futurism.com. A report about a strange craft that appeared to defy both aerial and aquatic physics is apparently making a splash among the ex-military set. Tim Gallaudet, an oceanographer and former naval rear admiral who served as the author of a March white paper about so-called unidentified submerged objects, or USOs, told Fox News this week that he considers it both scientifically valid and critical to national security to study these phenomena. Released by the newly convened Soul Foundation. Guys, this isn't on my radar. What's the Soul Foundation?
Never heard of it.
Bryce?
I'm going to read your next line. I think it's a
think tank dedicated to studying what the military calls
tank.
unidentified
Think tank.
anomalous phenomenon, UAPs. The 29-page report centers on a 2019 video taken aboard the Omaha off the coast of San Diego. The video, which was leaked to filmmaker Jeremy Corbell, friend of the show, shout out Jeremy, and verified by the Pentagon as a legit instance of naval recorded UAP in 2021, raises more questions than it answers. And in both his interview and the Soul Foundation report, Gallaudet, I'm going to go with the French pronunciation, Gallaudet, suggests that the strange craft should be treated as a threat.
Of course.
Pilots, credible observers, and calibrated military instrumentation have recorded objects accelerating at rates and crossing the air-sea interface in ways not possible for anything made by humans, Gallaudet wrote in the think tank's first report. While nobody can explain what exactly is going on the USS Omaha video, the capabilities of the craft it documented could jeopardize American maritime security, Gallaudet said, which is already weakened by our relative ignorance about the global ocean. This is what Bryce says all the time.
Yeah. Maritime security keeps me up at night.
The fact that unidentified objects with unexplainable characteristics are entering U.S. water space and the Department of Defense is not raising a giant red flag is a sign that the government is not sharing all it knows about all domain anomalous phenomena.
These UFOs just fly in and out of Catalina willy-nilly, like they own the place.
That's what he said. So there you go. To meet the security and scientific challenges, he continued, in the Soul Foundation report, transmedium UAP and USO should be elevated to national ocean research priorities. Now, what I like about this story, it's given USOs a big bump.
Needs it.
You know what I mean?
Needs it.
Because everyone talks about UFOs, UAPs.
Right.
What about these USOs?
Yeah, for sure.
We got to get our ocean scientists poking around down there.
Yeah.
You know, let's get some submarines taking a peek.
Yeah. Kind of sphere kind of vibes.
Yeah, sphere,
It's
the
probably
abyss.
more dangerous to explore the ocean than it is to sort of observe the skies through aircraft at these things.
Sea serpents.
Of course these fucking things are sea serpents, man.
They're
of
little
course
sea
they're in
serpents.
the ocean.
They're tiny. They're little baby sea serpents like that farmer found in
USOs, man.
New York. Remember off the coast of Massachusetts when we did the Gloucester sea serpent.
Of course, yes.
And the one that really stumped Bryce, that a farmer thought he killed a snake thinking it was a baby sea serpent. Oh, yeah. Remember that?
I do.
Oh, yes.
By the way, quick correction. I got a couple actuallys.
Let's hear 'em.
I must have said that they were burning witches at the stake in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
The Puritans hanged the witches in the United States. They burned them in Europe.
Oh.
But most were executed from drowning or hanging and other means.
That's awful.
That is-
but
It is.
So there's no. It's not common.
The burning was in Europe.
The burning was in Europe, and it's
okay.
a common misconception that also happened in Salem. I talked to my sister about it, who is a very big. She knows all about the Salem witch
great.
trials. She's very well versed in that, and she goes, "Yeah, no, it's true." And she goes, "They were also very concerned about firewood, so they didn't want to waste any wood."
Oh, that's,
come
on.
No, it's true. There was a resource. Wood was a
Right.
resource. You know,
Just hang her. Save the wood.
But
Yeah.
the wood, but
So
the
my
fire
apologies.
cleanses the magic.
It's a burner. It'll be fun. It'll burn the witch.
when I
Yes,
do,
but wood
when
is
we
expensive.
eventually do the Salem witch trials, I'll make sure I get those facts straight. But
Yes.
I just
Sometimes we're shooting from the hip here.
sometimes
A
I'm just
cord of wood goes for 3 cents. There's no way. There's just no way.
She's the most British Bostonian I've ever heard. All right. Any more thoughts about these USOs and this former admiral being like, guys, what are you doing here?
I mean, it's funny that it always has to be couched as a threat to get any real attention. But
That's how
I
you
mean,
get funding.
I know it is, and I guess it is. We should look into it. We definitely should. And who knows what's going on
I mean,
behind
if
the
the whole
scenes?
point of the military is to defend,
then yeah.
You need to know what the fuck this thing is zipping around.
And I'm glad this guy is saying this.
Yeah, I mean, it could shoot a laser beam at you. You don't know.
I don't want to get USO lasered.
No.
I feel like if the government is sort of going to mess with the acronym, and because they're all into the UAP now, which stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, shouldn't they give like a new moniker to these ocean-dwelling craft? Maybe like, what would that be?
Unidentified Oceanic Phenomena? Or how about just UWP, Unidentified Wet Phenomena?
Nice.
Yeah. That's good. Guys, we're dealing with UWPs.
Every other Saturday night in my apartment.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, my.
A lot of UWP
Mike, I'm
activity
surprised that came out
there.
of you. I'm proud of you.
Well,
Me
thank
too.
you. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, it's going to be time for this week's story of high strangeness. Or should I say
UWPs.
topic? Who knows? We'll find out. Before we get started on this week's High Strangeness, Bryce, the past 2 trips to the clubhouse, you have introduced your cat speak. This is the voice and the thing you do to get the cat's attention. And it's
beautiful, right? It's like charming.
I don't know if I like it, but I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah, my dad was a cat whisperer, literally. And I mean, from the time he was a young boy, he grew up on a farm in Iowa and always loved animals, of course, which is where I sort of get my love for animals, but loved cats. Just loved cats. So much so that we had probably like 4 or 5 of them in the house.
Yeah.
And maybe like 7 or 8 outside. They were probably like neighbors' cats, but he would feed them. He with the feeding, just like laying it out like a line of food.
Open up a bag and dump it on the back patio.
Just open up a big old bag of kitty food and spray it out on that front porch.
To add up.
But he did this thing, and I'll do it for you. Ready? Let me see. Okay, I'm looking at Lucifer. See if I make eye contact. Here we go.
She's sitting on the couch like a person licking herself.
Well, you little son of a gun. You little son of a gun. You little baby.
For the record, Lucifer's just licking her stomach and
Just
not
like
paying
that.
attention.
Just sitting
kitty.
like a dummy.
Yes, you are. You're just a little kitty.
Okay.
You son of a
We'll be quiet.
You little son of a
Let him work his magic.
Something like that.
The most specific thing I've ever seen demonstrated.
Yeah, and then he pats him on the popo. He called it Villa, and they just love it. They just love it, man.
There you go.
That's great.
You should try that next time you're looking for Bigfoot.
Yeah. You little son of a gun.
Just standing out in the woods on camera going,
You little son of a gun.
you little son of a gun.
That's good television, is what that is.
Just like Dr. Maria Mayer's head slowly turning. The cameraman.
That house smelled so fucking bad. I worked so hard to get that smell out of that house.
Oh, wow.
You could not believe that cat piss, what it does to furniture.
Oh, God.
Oh, man, that smell gets me.
Love you, though, Dad.
All right. Well, Bryce, it's your turn for High Strangeness. What do you got?
All right,
You
you guys
son of a
If
gun.
that wasn't strange enough.
You guys want to play a game?
Yeah.
So, what do Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint Joseph of Cupertino, and Saint Thomas Aquinas all have in common?
They're
They're
saints.
saints.
My next line is, and please don't say they were all saints.
That's right. You knew we were.
We got it.
We got you.
Any other guesses?
Are you our saint teacher?
Wow, we're really going.
this saint class?
Yeah, very
Any
academic
other-
lately. You too.
Any other-
They all performed miracle. Well, you have to perform a miracle to be a
What
saint.
kind of
Right.
miracle?
They all saw visions.
No.
Spoke
Riley?
to-
Okay,
They were all
visions?
horrifically murdered.
No. They performed a miracle, sort of. He said visions, which is wrong.
Resurrection.
Riley, any guesses?
Psychic power.
What do I like?
Consciousness.
Squirrels.
Levitating!
Oh,
Nice.
Yes,
Levitating
they all
saints.
Is
levitated.
this episode levitation?
That's right.
Nice.
Wow.
Into it.
Throughout history, there have been dozens, if not hundreds, of remarkable accounts of individuals who were believed to possess such extraordinary spiritual abilities that they were somehow able to literally lift off the ground unaided by apparent supernatural
Hey, man.
forces.
I love it.
I'm on board for
I like
this.
this topic. Yeah.
Just like that little Russian girl that we saw in that video.
it all
Just
comes
like
back to
is
that.
that why
Yeah.
you took off all of your clothes in your backyard this morning? Because you thought, well, I should ditch the extra weight.
Just in case. Just be ready.
Might
you know?
help me launch off the
Be
grass
prepared.
a little easier.
That's so funny you say that. And I'll get back to that.
Because you were trying to levitate today, I
We're
know.
always all
launch
trying
off
to
the grass.
levitate.
But how could that be, guys? That's impossible, right? I mean, come on. People can't actually levitate, or can they? Could all these accounts actually be true? Hell, just one of them. And perhaps an even more important question is, are people still flying around today? And if not, how come? Well, stay tuned to find out, because we're going to be covering all that and more in today's topic of high strangeness, levitation.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Also known as aethrobacy, taken from the Greek word ether, meaning upper air, and bat or bacy from the word acrobat. So properly
And
translated,
Count Basie.
literally means to go flying through the air.
Cool.
Aethrobacy. The
Aethrobacy.
idea of actually levitating oneself or objects has always fascinated me. Now, I'd heard of some mystics in the past who were reported to have this apparent ability. Saints like Joseph Cupertino and Teresa of Avila, but I was shocked to learn just how many venerated cases seem to pop up throughout history. Dr. Diana Pasolka, a professor of religious studies at the University of North Carolina, who's made a career of looking at strange miracles from the Bible, and who's also making splashes in the UFO community with her new books. She's sort of looking at the UFO phenomenon through the lens of mystical religion and historical religion.
I like it.
So, she says this: levitation has been around since the beginning of human history, and most religious traditions, as well as ancient religions, believe in it. There have been Buddhists who levitated, there have been people in the Hindu tradition who have been known to levitate, and it's absolutely accepted by the Catholic Church. Now, for the purpose of this story, I've decided to focus my research on what I like to call the flying saints, and have decided to avoid tales of levitation from the many mediums who have claimed to possess the same power. Mediums like Daniel Douglas Home, a prolific and well-documented levitator of himself and other objects.
We're not talking about you, Daniel Douglas Home. Get the fuck out of here.
Float
He was
on out of
once
here.
reported to have floated out of a third-story window and back again during a seance.
That's
Although
pretty cool.
skeptical researchers believe to have exposed Holmes's levitation as nothing more than him moving across a connecting ledge between two iron balconies.
Don't look at my feet. Don't look at my feet. Just look at my eyes. Look at my eyes. I'm floating. See, don't look down.
Don't look at me.
Don't look
Eyes
down.
up here, eyes up
Don't
here.
you look? But hey, maybe you think levitating's hard to believe. So let's discuss our first ethrobat, Saint Joseph of Cupertino.
So like an acrobat,
I
but
like
an
ethrobat.
yeah, ethrobat. That's right.
I wanna be an ethrobat.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
That's a cool profession.
And we'll find out who sort of coined that word later. Unless you'd like to know now.
You two are the two
In
best history teachers I've ever had.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
A well-timed sip of beverage.
Yeah, St. Joseph of Cupertino, born in 1603. He was an Italian friar who was honored as a Christian mystic and saint.
Okay.
Now, according
He's
to...
the guy that made sure that all of your phones were set to Cupertino time.
Oh my gosh, is that...
The
that
saint
guys.
can't be
of
true.
phone clocks.
I think that's
Yes.
false. I don't know. But now, I love this. According to traditional Franciscan accounts, he was, quote, remarkably unclever.
That's his trait, his known
But
trait.
experienced miraculous levitation and ecstatic visions throughout his life, which made him the object of scorn.
Whoa.
God damn it, Joseph!
You know, if you
Quit
can
floating,
float,
you idiot.
if you can float, you don't have to be that
You don't have
witty.
to be- yeah,
I
you don't
know,
really do
totally.
anything.
You got a trick. You have your act.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
Rumors of Joseph flying around during prayer became so pervasive that his fellow friars were concerned he'd become a spectacle of strangeness rather than a model of devotion. So they did what any good conservative friar would do. They pretended he didn't exist in the hopes he would just go away or stop
Perfect.
floating at least. God damn it, Joseph! Stop the floating! You must stop!
Picture tying a rope around his waist and tying it to the doorknob.
They would do stuff like that. Joseph had to be transferred several times to avoid unwanted attention.
Wow.
Now, I love this guy because he's kind of a fuck up, it sounds like.
Yeah.
He's humble. He spends most of his life as an ascetic.
This sounds like a Curious George book.
It's so weird.
You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
this monk's parents like dropped him off at the monastery
Like
because they were like,
take this floating
please
idiot."
take this
Yeah.
floating
No, they
boy.
did, and he tried so hard to get into the Franciscan friars, and they're like, no, just no. And then so he was like cleaning out
Hard
the stables.
pass.
Holy shit! This is just a balloon in a monk's robe.
And so he would just clean out the stables, and he was a good worker. They're like, fine, Joseph, come on in. Now,
Can we just
Pasulka-
acknowledge that you showed us a video of a floating man?
I was just
with
thinking about
no
that.
knowledge of this high strangeness?
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Dr. Pasulka recounts the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that she had of perusing the Vatican records for more information on some of these
Hey,
flying saints.
while you're over here, how about you get me one of those volumes off the top shelf, Joseph? Can't reach it.
No, she had like unprecedented access. Like this is like not many people get this opportunity. So she was able to go ahead and look at some of the files of Joseph of Cupertino. And there was one occasion that she found where some Italian dignitaries had come to visit the church.
Now,
And
what years is this? I'm
this
sorry.
was he was
What
born
century?
in 1603. So
Okay.
I imagine maybe like 30 to 40 years later.
So this is
Yeah.
like
1634.
this is like not too far off. This is like around Daniel Leeds'
It's really coming.
lifetime.
This is like
yeah.
prequel.
Oh,
Jersey Devil.
yeah, it kind of is, because you did mention witchcraft earlier, and we'll be bringing that up,
Great.
obviously.
Now be careful about how you say they were executed because you will be corrected.
Right, now, so, excuse me, audience. So apparently there was some Italian dignitaries who were coming by to visit the church, right?
Yeah.
And they tried to keep, now, Joseph, be on your best behavior, Joseph.
No floating, you
No
dummy.
floating about, Joseph.
Remarkably
Joseph.
unclever boy.
Are we sure Joseph just wasn't
And
Pennywise the clown?
While they were there,
You'll float too.
Joseph got so excited that he started floating towards the ceiling. Now, the parish priest, he was aghast, and he ordered a younger
What the
seminarian
fuck is this, Mary Poppins?
to
the
pull him
weirdest
back
story.
down. But to everyone's surprise, the boy was somehow magically uplifted along beside Joseph.
And this is like in the Vatican
There's
libraries.
Wow. There's a great painting of such an event by Costanzi, which I will include in the Insta. I'll show you
Why
boys
doesn't
here.
everybody know about
real,
this?
I know.
Real quick
The
here. But
floating
look,
saint.
here is a picture of St. Joseph of Cupertino grabbing this kid by the hair
That is an
in
awesome
ecstasy,
painting.
and they're just floating
floating
towards
away.
the ceiling.
Now, when he was floating,
So-
was he supposed to be
Wow.
like in a like a state of mind,
Well-
or was he just like, guys, I can't help it?
Well,
I
so
like
various
that.
saints had various experiences. It sounds to me like Joseph was lucid through his raptures
Okay.
of levitation. There are other saints who weren't, but he was pretty much, he was just unbelievably unremarkable. But,
I can't get over that those are his two things. Is that he's like remarkably unclever and can't
That was
control
it.
his
Oh
floating.
yeah, that
Yes.
floating guy, boring.
well,
so funny.
you guys mentioned it. Needless to say, he was deemed a disruptive by his religious superiors and church authorities, and he was eventually confined to a small cell. He was forbidden from joining any public gatherings of the community, and it got so bad that he was denounced to the Inquisition, and he was transferred from one Franciscan friary to another for observation, as he was suspected of demonic possession. Now, as the phenomenon of flying or levitation was widely believed to be obviously connected to witchcraft.
Right.
But finally, on the 9th of July, 1657, Joseph, he was allowed to return to his home, to a conventual community in Osimo, where he was often spotted wearing heavy chains.
Oh my
Though it's unclear whether these were
Practical.
chiefly
Yeah.
meant to ground him spiritually or physically.
Joseph, where are your chains? You're not allowed to walk about without your chains. You shall float no more.
I'd say something, but I can't really think of anything clever.
Now, on an interesting note, it was the Enlightenment rationalist Pope Prospero Lambertino who was known to be
Prospero Lamborghini.
Yeah.
What a name.
who was known to be extremely
He always
intelligent
had an erection.
That's
and
the hard
extremely
pope.
rational. He didn't believe in Joseph's bullshit levitation at all. And actually, he played devil's advocate to all this talk of levitation. And during Joseph's canonization process as well. However, Lambertino saw so much evidence and heard so many people who came came forward and swore they saw him levitate that he essentially ended up canonizing him anyway due to the overwhelming amount of evidence, and ultimately made Joseph of Cupertino a saint.
That is
Kudos,
a wild
Lamborghini.
story.
Well, how did he go from jail
Lamborghini.
cell to saint?
Well, that's his later, after his life
after
was
he died.
examined.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
Got it.
Now, modern day skeptics
Pope
like
Lamborghini.
Robert D. Smith in his book Comparative Miracles of 65 suggest that
Joseph performed feats similar to a gymnast.
Smith noted that some of his alleged levitations, quote,
Originate from a leap, and not from a
So he was
prone
just
or
jumping
simple
around.
standing or kneeling position.
He-
The witnesses mistook a leap of a very agile man
He
for
invented
levitation.
parkour. This is just doing medieval parkour.
talk about
medieval
jumping
parkour.
through hoops. These skeptics will go through anything to like,
It was a leap. It was serious. He was an agile flyer. I saw it. He was hopping about, ledge to ledge.
Now, this next one I love, and this is Saint Teresa of Avila. She's one of the best-known levitators of early modern age. Guys, this is the original flying nun.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's where
this is
that
the
comes
flying
from.
nun, guys.
Okay.
Born in 1582, Teresa of Avila was so prone to floating in midair that her sisters were sternly introduced to yank her down to the floor at the first sign of levitation. She'd even weigh herself down with stones, but to no avail. She became a Carmelite nun in her teens at the Convent of the Incarnation in her native Avila, a walled city in Old Castile, a historic region in central Spain. Now, during her 20s, she was plagued by an illness that no doctor could properly diagnose or cure. She was brought to death's door, literally, taken for dead and ready for burial, but she somehow regained consciousness only a few hours before being lowered into her grave.
What?
You imagine that?
Wow.
Teresa remained paralyzed afterward for quite some time, and eventually she recovered, although it was a slow and painful recovery.
So she just woke up in a coffin about to be buried.
Yep, 2 hours
Yikes.
before. So she had what a near-death experience is what we would call that today.
Right.
Near burial experience.
Yeah, you know, she wasn't too keen on being a nun, and when she kind of came to the convent, according to her own estimation. But it was when she began to experience visions and raptures in her 40s that they intensified so quickly and dramatically. She came under suspicion, of course, of being either demonically influenced or a fraud. Now, at the same time, many around her were convinced that her experiences were genuinely divine in origin, and her superiors ordered her to write a detailed account of her life and her ecstasies under the watchful eye of the Inquisition. That's how much they believed in her, right? You know, sort of divine floatings,
Right.
if we could call that. Now, an essential part of the narrative is Teresa's constant emphasis on her own humility and the pain and embarrassment caused by the ecstasies she experienced in public, or which became public knowledge, especially those ecstasies in which she levitated. Now, of course, if you think of old Joseph of Cupertino suffered allegations of witchcraft, imagine how it was for a woman of the cloth.
Sure, yeah.
Moving on to St. Thomas Aquinas.
Oh.
The author of one of the most comprehensive theological works in Christian history, Aquinas has been called both angelic doctor and a dumb ox. A witness claimed to see the great saint levitating during prayer before an image of
Same.
Jesus, who said to Thomas,
You have written well of me, Thomas. What reward would you have for your labor?
Thomas responded,
Nothing but you, Lord.
I like this guy. You know how I often
Good read.
abandon my BCC news stories?
Yeah.
Well, this guy had a mystical experience on the feast of St. Nicholas in 1273 and abandoned his own book. St. Thomas Aquinas was celebrating Mass when he received a revelation so great that he was like, fuck it, I'm done writing.
Love it.
Leaving his great work, the Summa Theologia, unfinished.
Guys,
Wow.
why write when you can float?
Yeah, exactly.
Stating, quote,
The end of my labors has come. All that I have written appears to be as much straw after the things that have been revealed to me.
so he just stopped writing.
Wow.
And there's one more guy who
That's
may
one way to
not
get out
be
of a
saint.
deadline.
It is.
Pivot.
Everything's meaningless. I'm out.
Right, I'm out. Now, this guy may not be a saint, but he certainly deserves attention on my list. And I'm talking about none other than Simon Magus, also known as Simon the Sorcerer or Simon the Magician.
Is this where we get Simon Says?
This is where we get the word simony, which means to pay for entrance, because he tried to buy his. They say he tried to buy.
You know
his way
that
into,
common expression we all use, simony.
Yeah.
Now,
Is there a simony to get into this bar?
You want
This
to
guy-
see my band tonight?
this guy is super.
Oh, sorry guys, we're charging a simony.
This is simony. It's $5.
No, I like this guy. Hold on, this guy's super mysterious, right?
Yeah.
Now, some even say he was the founder of Gnosticism.
I'm just picturing going into the next like show I go see,
That's-
and then being like, "There's a cover charge," and I go, "Oh, you mean a simony?" And then just getting
simony is.
just getting punched square in the
they're like,
face.
please leave.
You deserve a good punch on the nose. He was a religious figure and who had a confrontation with Peter. Now, this is recorded in the Acts of the Apostles.
What year are we?
Back
in Jesus' days?
Bibles.
So
Peter
this is
the
Simon
Apostle?
Magus. Yes, this is the days of
So we're
after
going back
Jesus.
to like year zero here.
Yeah. This is like 100. Let's call it 130 AD.
130.
Totally
Wait,
just
Peter.
guessing.
Wait, Peter
Don't
was
worry.
alive.
This is Bible math.
Okay. This
Now,
is
the apocryphal-
biblical horse math.
Yes.
So we're talking like 30, at least around 30 to 50 AD.
Yeah.
Okay, first century.
This is after Paul converted to Christianity and started spreading the word of Christ. So
Oh, okay,
probably
okay.
soon after
Yeah,
Christ.
Paul
We're,
did
we're
Jesus,
agreeing
so
like
yeah,
we know.
yeah, great.
When Paul was alive.
Okay. So Simon's performing an act of magic in the Roman Forum, right?
Okay.
And he's trying to prove himself that he has the powers of the universe, and that he too can levitate like these saints.
You need not be a saint. I, Simon Magus, can levitate. Watch me!
And he's in the Roman Forum, and he's levitating, and Peter comes in, and Peter's like, "Is that the fucking
Is this
guy
St.
from the
Cupertino
Millennium
floating
Falcon?"
or what's going on
That's
there?
the guy. He's like calling over a cat. That's his big trick.
I thought it was that dude in the Millennium Falcon. Oh my God, Michael!
It is scary when
So
you do it.
Peter sees this, right, and he comes in and he does a prayer to God for him to stop. And
Please, God, let this guy stop.
And
Shut
Simon
this
comes
show
falling
down.
out of the air and breaks his leg in 3 parts.
Oh, wow.
And the unrest, the crowd that was pretty much on his side, they now stone him to death.
Wow, that turned
So it turns
quickly.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
They didn't bring tomatoes to shows back then.
Talk about bombing.
Now the list of these flying... You gotta stop that. The list of these flying saints just goes on and on. Saint Francis of Assisi, Saint Alphonsus Liguori, Saint John of the Cross, Mary of Egypt, Saint Bessarion of Egypt, Saint Catherine of Siena, Saint Martin de Porres, J. Rock of Nazareth. Even
J-Rock.
Stephen M. Greer,
cool saint.
famed ufologist, founder of CSETI, and author of Hidden Truth, Forbidden Knowledge, claims to have levitated
No.
once or twice due to his extensive training in transcendental meditation. But that's
Really?
neither here nor there. Okay.
Do you think David Lynch has ever floated?
I think he's like 80% of the time.
He's got to be close.
Yeah, that's how his hair gets so high.
Exactly.
There is a book. So I have taken the TM courses, Transcendental Meditation. There is a
wanna do
book on
that.
levitation they have. It's like...
Really?
Yeah, there's the thing. I was like, get the fuck out of here. But now... Okay, so there's obviously strong historical accounting and precedence
Yeah.
for people in early European history having this purported ability to levitate. But did it really happen? Is this a case of complete and utter over-exaggeration on the part of the claimant along with all the eyewitnesses? I don't think so. Could it just be a case of mass hallucination or something in the bread? Maybe
Back to
some
the bread.
ergot?
You know,
It all comes back
I
to
also
the
think
bread.
like the bread thing is not true either.
Really?
It's not factual.
That's
yeah.
just a thing people say.
It's a thing that people say, but it's actually not true.
Well, looking
look
for
at
some
someone,
answers.
someone will actually us
Yeah,
about that,
yeah,
please.
yeah.
We want to know.
I found some
We invite
answers
that
in some
one.
unexpected places. Famed occultist Madame Blavatsky had some personal experiences in the Far East with levitating fakirs or mystics and their levitating objects, and had this to say on the subject. First published in her Theosophist, Volume 1, quote, "Athrobasy is the effect of altered polarity," end quote.
Cool.
And she goes on to say that Christian ascetics, through contemplation and self-denial, acquire powers of levitation which, though attributed to the miraculous intervention of God, are nevertheless real and the result of physiological changes in the human body. And in her book, A Treatise on the Yoga Philosophy, she goes on to say, quote, "Until gravitation is understood to be simply magnetic attraction and repulsion, and the part played by magnetism itself in the endless correlations of forces in the ether of space, that, quote, hypothetical medium, as Webster terms it, I maintain that it is neither fair nor wise to deny the levitation of either fakir or table.
Love it.
I like the idea of like becoming so enlightened that you like alter your physical being to the state that like you can do cool shit now.
Reverse polarities.
Because I've heard stories of like yogis, like
that's what I was thinking
like gurus
too. Yeah.
that like will die and their bodies do not like decay.
Yeah, there's famous cases of
You
that.
know,
yeah.
and
There's a thing. There was it's not practiced anymore, but or shouldn't be, but where they would like meditate into death, and then just there's somewhere in the world you can see this monk that's
Ram
like
Dass would
still
talk
preserved.
about
Yeah, Ram Dass.
the goal of death. So the goal of the Buddhist during death is to stay so present in the rapture to not be distracted.
Right.
So to walk in it. In other words, like he tells his story of a guy who thought of his favorite noodle right during he died, and he had to come back in life again just to like fulfill that like karmic wanting,
That's good.
that wanting
Yeah.
to attachment.
He thought
So the
about
idea is
pasta.
to rid yourself of all
And
that
that
at the
guy-
time of death.
Garfield.
Born on a Monday.
But I always wondered, like, so why are people sort of levitating today? I think because the church really
because
stamped
it
this
didn't
out.
Happen.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. This is all
you know
why.
what?
This is like
Yeah.
Amelia Bedelia rules. I like this is like this is like the Vatican like being like there was once a magic purple crown that would bring to life anything you
That's
drew.
so
I don't know.
funny.
Right.
This is such a children's book like thing, the way, and a wonderful telling of it, by the way, and I love it and I'm fascinated by it, but I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
Well, can we make connections between like tractor beams lifting people up and the UFO phenomena, and like, or are there correlations of like?
mean-
I would love to.
Of
That
like-
was just when the UFOs were testing out their new tractor beams for a century.
No, but there's also this idea too that if the church did stamp out these floaters, these levitators, because if belief can spread amongst the masses that something like this is possible, like it's like Matrix rules, then, right? Like belief has to be tampered in order to maintain the structure of the Matrix. You know what I mean?
That is absolutely true.
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of this. I mean, obviously, like you talk about witchcraft, I do know that like come at me, but I know that like some of this, some of those stories of like from Salem were like they would go out into the woods and they'd all float around
fly
in
with
the
the
woods
devil.
together and
Yeah.
fly.
Right.
We had the story about the woman who like flew the farmer who was like she flew into my bean field and then she turned into a cat.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is. It defies all logic and reason.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and believe that it was literal. You know what I mean? So I feel like it has to be coded for
When
something.
they're talking about to the ceiling, you know what I mean? And then the witnesses of an entire parish, who are used to journaling and recording their daily activities on the daily.
Yeah.
It's
And they're
weird.
all-
What
It's
really gets
highly
me
strange.
about
It's highly
about
strange.
But I don't know. I
Saint
feel like we're
Cupertino-
missing something.
What gets
Sorry.
me about Saint Cupertino is that it wasn't. They were like, and it was amazing. They were like, and it's so goddamn annoying.
Yes.
Oh, they hated it. Oh, he
this
was-
guy won't stop flying around.
And that's
Yeah.
why I'm wondering, like, is there...
That almost
is-
makes it more believable.
Is this
in a
one of those
way.
things where
Yeah.
like yellow and pink used to be the same color?
Right.
You get into like weird, like did floating and levitating literally mean something different back then?
Maybe.
Or was it perceived in a different way?
But think about Pope Lamborghini. He was you. He was saying, no, this levitation stuff. Come on. But then the people just kept coming forward. I saw him. I would
Right.
swear my lot on it.
What was very interesting to me about this is that I've always heard levitation from like the Buddhist monks and like yogic practice and all
of
that
it in
stuff.
Hindu and Buddhist culture.
I didn't know there was such a history of it in like Catholicism and in the Christian
Yeah.
church. I didn't know that.
Well,
It's
and
interesting.
then the Catholic Church does like a quick to like they
Never mind.
They have to do a quick two-step to like either canonize these guys or demonize that. You know what I mean? So they have to
Right.
go through the process of like either these are going to become saints or we're going to like wipe them from
part
the
of me also just feels like...
Yeah, because how does this fit into the
How
rules?
does this fit into what we're,
The other part, I'm hearing all this and like God, they must have been so fucking bored. They must have been, it's just like part of this just feels like I need to create a little drama around here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just too much time on their hands.
I can imagine if there was like
too much Bible, too much time.
Yeah, they needed cell phones.
Yeah. This is why I'm like, okay, maybe Instagram isn't a bad thing.
I think there's a clue in the part where the boy goes to grab him and then suddenly his polarity changes and he levitates too, which sort of hints to me an electrical field of some sort. I like this idea of a polarity change.
So this could also be a thing where like, hey, nothing's happening around this monastery. We got to get like some action going on. Like
you think this is like a plan?
Well, it's kind of like,
like a wire
how they used to
situation.
sell papers by making up stories. Like
her and her buddy St. John of the Cross did start their own seminary. Like they broke off.
This is what
they
I'm saying.
started
Like
a club.
PR,
the Flying Nun is an institution.
How is our place special? You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's start telling everyone we got this boring idiot that can float around. You know what I mean?
Just strapped. You think they just had him strapped to a wire? They're just flinging him around the church.
From there, Joseph.
But I'm just saying, like,
I'm doing mass.
maybe it's just like it's
so distracting.
It's a way to get like, hey, we're pretty special. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because if you're at that time and you have a monastery, it's like the same thing where like all the churches had to have a holy. We got a sliver of the cross. We have a crown of thorns
Joseph
here too.
comes by.
Right.
We
We got a relic.
Oh, fuck you, Joseph.
You gotta have a celebrity. You gotta have a celebrity.
Float away.
Someone else.
You gotta have a miracle happening at your church, at your monastery. You know what I mean?
I like this telling
so
of
maybe
it. Yeah.
part of this is also like, hey, this is weird, some cool shit going on over here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But now, if you turn the table, and on the other coin, there's a whole bunch of cases where there's demonic possession and levitation.
Sure.
That's
so
true,
we
too.
didn't even cover that.
Well, and poltergeist activity,
That's
the
right.
Enfield poltergeist,
That's
which we
right.
did. Like,
So
they said
obviously,
that
our
the children
nature
were
can be
levitating, possessed
altered,
by that.
the nature of our reality.
Yeah, I don't know. Look,
I mean, it's
love
one of
it.
those
I
like
love the
things, just
story.
like even the children's game, like Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board. Like it's one of those things that we're very attached
Also,
to. This idea
that happened.
The constructs that
Right.
we create
And
in our
that's
mind.
real.
I did that. No, we
I
literally
know.
lifted
We've
a
talked
kid.
about it.
It
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm on board.
So now he's back.
I'm back.
Yes.
You
Look,
did it.
I love the story.
Landed at the
So-
end.
okay,
I don't know.
this is a new game. Sell levitation in 3 minutes.
All right.
Or
Well,
1 minute, whatever.
Well done. Let us know what you think in the comments section of our Instagram, or if you're listening to this over on the
Or float
the
over
old-
to Apple.
yeah
and leave
BCC
us
the
a
other
5-star
side. If you're
review.
listening to BCC to this on BCC the other side in the ad-free tier, let us know what you think in the comments section. Great job, Bryce. That was very fun.
Yeah,
I loved
good
it.
one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and then just
Did
a
you
little end note
a
here.
little tidbit.
Ooh.
Oh, you weren't done?
A
postscript.
Funny enough, as I was doing the research, I found out that a guy just wrote a book on this. His name is Carlos Iyer,
Cool.
and he published it last year. It's called "They Flew."
Cool.
A
Maybe we
history of
should
the
have read it before.
I know. Well,
No, sometimes you find
sometimes
things
they
that-
come
Just
in
plug
late.
it.
You
Just
know,
plug the
Let's check it
lines.
out.
A History of the Impossible, released by Yale University Press, and I was able to find some nice quotes from there.
Okay, cool.
From the
Great.
internet.
I
So
want to
you
get
did.
to the
Was
bottom
it
of
a
this, so
resource?
I'll
Yeah.
check that book out. That's great.
Cool.
Okay, before we head over to Collector's Corner and wrap this episode up, let's swing by and say thank you to some Club Scouts who have recently joined us over on BCC The Other Side. You guys
love that.
ready?
Yes.
Tori
Ready.
Renee, Cosmeteer.
Oh, hey, Tori.
Eric
Thank you.
Fitzgerald.
Thanks, Eric.
Jeanetters.
Thank you, Jeanetters.
Lazy Crayon.
Thanks, Lazy Crayon.
Andrew Maines.
Thanks, Andrew.
Gavin Kersey.
Thanks, Gavin.
CJ.
Thanks, CJ.
Chris B.
Thanks, Crisby.
Kim.
Thanks, Cam.
Susan Ring.
Thanks, Susan.
Michael Martin.
Thanks, Michael.
Daniel Petey. Cosmeteer.
Thank you. Welcome.
Austin S.
Thanks, Austin.
Roseanne Raposk.
Thanks, Roseanne.
Nullis Ethan Omni. Cosmeteer.
Nullis, welcome.
Alan White Chicheski.
Thank you, Alan.
Darby Rush.
Thanks, Darby.
Kurt Orizoko.
Thanks, Kurt.
Cosmeteer.
Oh, sorry.
Welcome.
We welcome you.
Erica.
welcome
Sorry, I
you.
don't have my reading glasses on. And finally, favorite name of the week and one of our all-time favorite cryptids, the Dog Man. Cosmeteer. That's right, guys.
Nice.
The Dog
That's
Man
the
has
company
joined our
you keep.
Patreon. That's
If
Thank
you
you,
are a
Eric. Yeah, we didn't
Cosmeteer,
forget you.
you are with the Dog Man.
Okay, let's swing by Collector's Corner to find out what we're working on, what we might be reading, watching, collecting, consuming. What do you got, boys?
I'm diving into noise music lately.
Oh shit! What does that mean?
It's like non-melodic, non-rhythmic. It's just very. It's like pretty much.
Okay.
The harsh industrial.
I feel like this is like the black magic you have to dive into to really become a master of all the mystic arts.
Yeah, I think so.
Are you finding pleasure in it?
I love it.
Oh, gee. Can you point us in a direction of like somebody we should check out?
I'll get back to you on that because I am currently like learning more about it, so I don't feel like ready to recommend things. But I got this new little guy today. It's called The Rumble of Ancient Times.
No.
Great.
How cool is that?
That's so cool.
And it's by a company called Soma. And, it's like I'm just making... It's like this kind of vibes.
Okay.
That's fucking awesome.
Like opening of a movie trailer sound.
Yeah. And I'm just working on the, going from like very
you
like...
need to turn that off.
What if I played that walking into an audition? Just like...
You would get the part.
Yeah, you probably would.
So anyways, I'm just like getting into these little tiny esoteric machines and I love them so much.
So cool.
That one, you play it with electrical conductivity. There's no keys. It's just these little electrical plates and little knobs. And that's my G.I. Joe. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Yes.
That little guy.
Yeah. We gave Bryce a G.I. Joe figure earlier.
Well,
before
you did.
Snow Job. Yeah, Riley gave me a cool book about
G.I.
time.
Snow Job is
Classified.
righteous.
I'll tell you what,
amazing.
I'm loving.
Michael gave
There's
me
my
G.I.
plug.
Joe.
I love the G.I. Joe classified line.
So
It's
great.
it's such a good. Like, there are a lot of 6-inch action figure lines out there right now.
Yeah, sure.
I used to collect the Star Wars Black Series line. Don't do it anymore. It gets the G.I. Joe one.
They're beautiful.
So great. And they're bringing out all my old friends.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we got Snow Job for Bryce for his birthday because it's one of his favorite guys.
It's weird how a little toy can bring me joy. But even you guys sort of got in on it as we're opening
I
all
got
the
into
cool little
it.
parts.
It's cool.
And it's fun, man.
It's great.
I see it. I see the appeal. I
He
get
makes
it.
me
Fun.
smile.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like an avatar that you connected to as a child.
Totally.
Or you had the figure as a child and you sold it in a garage sale so you could take a girl to homecoming.
Yep.
Or buy a Super Nintendo. And then you're like, I wish I had like the...
Why did I do that? It was so dumb.
I wish I had like the Plato's ideal version of that character on my shelf. There you go.
Yeah.
The Platonian ideal of
They are
Snow
very
Job.
like highly detailed and cool.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're killing it. Hasbro is killing
try.
it. If anyone from Hasbro is listening...
Oh, we'd be great at
I'm telling you, you guys are
business.
crushing it with this G.I. Joe classified line. I also love
Keep up the good
Star Wars
work.
Vintage Collection retro, and the Star Wars Retro Collection.
There you go.
Please
There you go.
advertise on the show.
Bryce, what's yours?
Hey, I'm on a reggae little tip. I watched that new
Nice.
Bob Marley movie, which was really good.
Oh, cool.
I don't know
Is
the
it
name.
called One Love?
I think so.
I think so. That's it, Mike.
sounds
yeah.
right.
And anyway, so it's just been...
It's good. You liked it?
So one of my son's first LPs that he bought, actually it was his very first, was Bob Marley. It was Bob Marley and the Wailers. And
Oh,
so
cool.
I've just been playing it on our little record player.
That's great.
And funny enough, that was the music my daughter was born to. The doctor that brought her into the world, he played, he was playing Bob Marley. And
Really?
It was cool.
Cool doctor.
High out of his mind.
No, he
Hopefully
was
not.
he was on it, dude. So I just forgot how easy it is to get back into like reggae and like Bob Marley. It's such a
reggae
sun
in the sunshine,
sensation.
I
Cup of
put
coffee.
on-
It's great morning
it's
music. I
great
love reggae in the morning.
and especially in my garden. I was like, just
Yeah,
Bob Marley, you
that's
and me,
good.
buddy.
I've been kind of in that kick lately to like put on like, what was I listening to in my early 20s? And like I popped on Rufus Wainwright the other day and I was like, I used to know all. I forgot how much I loved this album.
Yeah.
Oh, the little record player's just been so great because we
Are
keep
you
a little
playing-
bit
you're
of
playing
records.
vinyl these days?
Oh, all the time. Like
Wow,
I don't even
okay.
like to like when I'm home. I like to shift through a little record bin and I find the
great.
best stuff in bargain bins, man. Like
Yeah.
I just like old like 30s, 40s orchestra
Yeah.
symphony, like chill. Like
Have you ever heard a band called the Congos?
no.
I'm going to send you home with that record.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
That's a great,
okay, great.
It's
All right,
great
awesome.
old reggae record.
Yeah, great. I write stories of high strangeness to the records. I'll put on
Oh,
the
great.
music.
You'll love it. It's
Okay, great.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to slip over to the other side for a very special edition of Movie Club. You guys have been hitting us up about this for over 2 months now.
It's happening.
We're going to go to a theater. We're going to see Sasquatch Sunset
Hell yeah.
on 420
Hell yeah.
Oh,
at 420.
oh, what?
Yeah.
No
I won't tell
fucking
you
way.
guys where, but I'll tell the boys where.
Basically a solar eclipse.
Yeah. So,
Perfect alignment.
if you live in
And
the
I
LA
might be
area,
blazing again, so we're
if you
gonna
live in the
go
LA
off on
area,
that.
that'll narrow it down for you. But it's too late. By the time you hear this, we'll have already done it.
been
What's
there.
your go-to movie snack? What do you guys roll with?
I'm
classic
peanut M&Ms.
popcorn. Oh, yeah, peanut M&Ms.
mixed
Oh,
with
good.
popcorn.
Oh, you do that?
I'm a large
Yeah.
popcorn, light butter, large Coke, no can. Yeah,
We've
no
never
can.
seen a movie at a movie theater together.
That is psychotic.
Trip.
And the movie to all three of us.
And we're going to
And
watch a
it's-
Bigfoot movie.
A movie about Bigfoot's
Fucking.
like shitting and pissing, eating,
How did
puking,
we get here?
and coming.
So good. Thank you,
So-
listeners. You know what?
Yeah.
We fucking appreciate.
We really do.
I tripped out today. I was like, man, we've been on this journey for so long, and then it's just like we appreciate you guys coming along and helping us grow and getting us out to other listeners, and just a heartfelt gratitude.
I've been
Thanks.
feeling that gratitude lately.
Other
too.
quick
Yeah.
sidebar about Sasquatch, and yes, I obviously thank you.
Obviously, we love you.
Jessica Napick from What's Up Weirdo, she messaged me on
Yeah.
Instagram the other day, and she was like, "Why aren't any of us like supernatural podcasts getting anyone? Why is no one from this movie reaching out to us?"
I know. I thought maybe.
Well,
like,
I guess they're
guys?
reaching out to like influencers with like hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, and I was like, well, they know they have us, Jessica. They know we're going, so they don't need to
covering it
convince
anyway.
us.
They're
It's
good.
preaching
We're-
to the choir. I was like, do I
funny.
want it? Of course I do. But
I
no,
saw
they
they
know
did
they got
like a
us.
stunt. They put one of those Sasquatches in the movie costumes
In Central Park.
In Central Park.
Yeah.
That's
smart.
good.
That's good marketing.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, fun.
All right,
Cool.
we're gonna find out. We'll let you know. 90 minutes. People have been walking out of this movie.
I love it.
because they're so turned
We
off
will
by
be
it.
walking
Great.
in.
Yeah. That's right. All right. So if we don't see you over there, we'll see you back here next Wednesday for an all new episode of BCC. Until then, good night.
And go get regressed. Get down there! Stop it! Bigfoot Collectors Club is produced by Riley Bray and Michael McMillan and scored and engineered by Riley Bray. Our theme song, Come Alone, is by Suneaters, courtesy of Lotuspool Records. Do us a favor and support the show and unlock 3 bonus episodes every month by becoming a member of our Patreon, BCC The Other Side, which can be found at patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub.